horses and a pony.
Aw. Well, tell me,
Yeah.
I know we met briefly a week or two ago, and I love that, but tell me, tell me all about Dallas. Like, have you always lived in Tennessee, or did you move there? Or
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a journey. So originally I'm from Wisconsin and grew up in the country. So I feel like that was the perfect setting to get close to animals and loving the environment and really kind of in my purpose from a young age. Then I moved to California for about 10 years. And that was wonderful, kind of getting the kind of Western magic and perspective and a lot of cool progressive things when it comes to healing and comes to this energy work. So that was a really, really wonderful launch pad and really where I started doing a lot of the energy work with the horses, which
yeah,
is a big catalyst for me. And then I moved to Tennessee about 5 or maybe 6 years ago now. I don't know, time flies, but so I've been in the South for a few years now and love it.
yeah. So, like, let's just start with the animal communication. So, like,
Yeah.
when did you notice that you could do that, or how did you pick up on that?
Yeah. So looking back, it was when I was little, right? But I didn't realize it till later. So I still remember a couple dreams that I had vividly when I was little that of course weren't really dreams. So the first one I remember, waking up in the middle of the night and walking to the bathroom and it was kind of scary, making my way to the bathroom in the dark and there was two tabby cats that were wrapping, themselves around my legs. And we didn't have any cats at the time. And now one of my cats, actually Dale, looks just like one of those cats. Yep. And the other thing that I remember vividly is waking up early in the morning and going outside, and in the driveway, I saw this huge, what I thought was a white German Shepherd. And I was like, oh wow, there's a German Shepherd here. This is so cool. Because we had shepherds as well, but not white ones. This is so cool and amazing. And then I remember thinking later, like, oh, that must have been a dream. We don't have that. And later in life, I think I was in high school, I had someone tell me, oh, like you came in with a white wolf. That's one of your guides. And I'm like, okay, light bulb.
That's what I was
Um,
thinking when you said German Shepherd was a white wolf.
Yep, it was the white wolf. So yeah, it's kind of always been around, but I think a lot of us probably experience this where, those ideas aren't entertained and it's kind of shut down. So
Yeah,
I would say my work with the horses, kind of, my mid-20s was really the big catalyst to kind of bringing this back and awakening even more of it.
yeah, okay. I know I had a weird situation when I was young too. First of all, I saw like orbs in the room. Um, didn't scare me or anything, but we were all going to sleep. I was sleeping with my mom, and I remember like these bubbles appearing. And I remember even as a child, like rubbing my eyes, like, what is wrong with my my eyesight? And just watching them appear in the room. Um, Finally got tired of looking at them and went to sleep. But it wasn't until I was a teenager that, you started seeing these shows, orbs captured on video. And I was like, wait a minute, I've actually seen that with my eyes when I was younger. And then I remember telling my uncle one time that we were talking about lightning bugs, and I was like, I like those, but I really like the pink and blue ones. And he's like, there's no such thing as pink and blue lightning bugs. And I was thinking, I mean, I remember as a child, like being crushed, like, what do you mean there's no such thing? Because, yeah, I distinctively remember being in my yard surrounded by these pink and blue lights that I thought were lightning bugs. So,
So beautiful. But yeah, then after that happens, you feel like you don't want to say anything, right? When you're a kid and you're like, oh, okay, maybe not.
causes doubt and confusion because
Yeah.
it was almost like they said, you don't have a cat named, Scooter or whatever, and you do.
Yeah.
So I remember a couple of things like that when I was younger as well that I would share and get that confused, like, what do you mean? Um, but yeah, so I kind of relate a little bit in that way, and then you just kind of, for me, I just lived life a little differently when I got older and kind of dismissed a lot of things until you finally just couldn't dismiss them anymore. So tell me about your first conversation or your first experience with your horses.
Um, I would say again, because this is, in my 20s, so this is starting to come back. So a lot of it was feeling in the beginning, right? Like the clair empath stuff, and just knowing. And at
Yeah.
the time, didn't know what, claircognizance was. It's like, oh yeah, I've always just been animal whisperer, horse whisperer, and I just kind of know. I already know exactly, what they're feeling and what they're needing, right? Kind of intuitively.
Mhm.
So a lot of it was feeling in the beginning, like feeling their really big emotions. And then from there, I would hear like keywords, right? And there was just no refuting, like, no, that was not, me in my head thinking this.
Mhm.
So a lot of, I would say in the beginning, really grateful. I had a lot of mares that I worked with. So a lot of this, kind of divine feminine energy, which is, obviously big theme, right, collectively right now. So they were some of my greatest teachers and kind of opened me up to that emotion piece. Because a lot of the work I was doing was rehab, right? Like it's nervous system regulation, right? Like this is therapy essentially for horses. And in doing that, I'm like, oh wow, like there's, I got stuff going on too. I have some of these things, and I had blocked off my emotions for a long time. So it was almost bringing me back, to kind of our first language, all of us, which is energy, right? And that emotion. So a lot of it in the beginning was big emotion, feeling it, understanding it, learning to regulate it within myself and with the horses. And then from there, it was like, okay, word sentences, full on conversations, and now it's like, my mind is blown on a consistent basis, even after doing this for a long time. And even our conversation when we met the other day was so wonderful. I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. So it's been really cool.
It's hard to explain. Even if I wanted to tell somebody about us meeting for the first time, it's
Mhm.
just really hard to put into words. Um, do you think the horses also recognize they can communicate with you versus someone else? Do they pick up on that too?
Absolutely, absolutely. And they know when I'm coming too. So I can kind of tell them ahead of time. And I usually tell, horse parents, like, set your intentions ahead of time, right? Like, let them know. Because of course we all have these gifts, right? We've just kind of forgotten them. But yeah, they absolutely know. And a lot of them, as soon as I get there, they're like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I've been waiting for you. I knew you were coming and I'm ready. And then of course there are others who, are just have had a little harder time of it, so they're still unsure. So it's like they know in their heart, but on this plane are still just having a tough time just because of the tough experiences and the trauma that they've been through.
Yeah. So I would, I kind of read into that like, y'all have this telepathic communication. Definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
And
makes
it's
sense.
yeah, it's on multiple levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like if telepathic, I feel like a lot of people just think kind of like mind to mind, right? Um, and it really is, it's all of it, right? Heart to heart, right? It's like the whole energy field that you can kind of unlock.
And the different layers of even yourself with the different layers of the horse itself, because like you said, we're all energy. We're all here experiencing something. That horse's next lifetime could be a human lifetime. So it's just interesting how you're just basically connecting with the energy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the past life thing, and that comes up a lot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are a couple horses recently actually that I've met that we've shared past lives with. So that's been pretty amazing. And you know, one of them as well, I came to help him and he ended up helping me a little bit. He's like, okay, well, the healer needs a healer too. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, got to take care of myself. And he did a little mini healing on me as well. So it's been really, really cool. Like things just keep opening up more and more, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's exciting. So, what is your plans like right now with your abilities and stuff? Are you like now pushing yourself out there to pull in more and more clients, or
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've been doing this, for a while, especially with the body work with horses. So the animal communication I do for any animal, dogs, cats, I worked with an elephant once. So any animal, if anyone needs help. And I've been doing the kind of in-person body work with horses. So the healing session. So it could be, craniosacral, acupressure, the energetic chakra clearing and balancing, different stuck emotions. So always open to have those folks as well. But I would say my newest offering is for people. In my work with the horses, right? Like I go there for the horses and it ends up being really therapeutic for both parties. So I'm basically kind of a relationship coach for horses or for animals and their people. So now I've decided to open up more for the healing for people. So I'm offering energy healing for people with horses now as well.
Okay. So just the people with the horses. You haven't branched out to just see anybody yet.
So I do it with current clients. Yep. So I do it with current clients and now I'm starting to open more publicly. My horses have told me that they're ready to help others and I call him my middle child. He is a little shaman. So he's kind of been like, "Okay, mom, it's time to open up, to a broader audience because I've worked with, my clients already and they're like, "Okay, the whole world needs this, so it's time."
Yeah, and that's what we were discussing. When we met, is that's what my guides keep telling me is it's time, and you know,
Mhm.
showing you the bell, and which is hilarious. My guides come back later and even said, you've already rang the bell, and I'm like, okay, because I don't normally am not comfortable with getting putting myself on video and being so. I'm really good face to face with people, but I'm just that person that has a hard time with not, going, oh, do I really look like that? Do I really sound like that? And I pick myself apart. And so they were just like, no, it's time for you to be more public. It's time for you to put your frequency out there. People need to hear you. People need to see you. People need to know about these things. And then they kind of rolled in, oh, by the way, you're going to interview other healers and put that out there too. And I'm like, okay. But when you're doing something that you came here to do, this has been so much fun. Like when I first kind of got the message about doing Zooms, I thought it was like, okay, I'm supposed to come on here and like teach something or talk about a topic. And that felt like so much work. Um, but now it's like I have, probably 3 or 4 interviews lined up this week, and it's not work at all. It's just like exciting and energetic, and like it just feels good. And so when you're doing something, and you're getting that positive, energetic feeling and excitement. You're doing what you're supposed to, and like who wouldn't want to meet all these amazing people that we have been almost programmed to stay hidden from everyone. And so people don't know what you can do or I can do or Jenny Smith down the road can do. And like you said, it's time to bring these people forward because people are going to need to know how to regulate their nervous systems. They're going to need to know how to release energies. Because the world is changing right before our eyes. And I think we've been really shown that this last few days. And it's time. And things are going to get rough, and you're going to have your own group of people that you can trust and get some kind of comfort from and learn how to regulate yourself. So that's what I think we're all here, being prompted and pushed to do. And I just think that's great. So you're working with animals and you're working with the animals owners, which I think that's great. So you're kind of teaching them about their relationship with their own pets.
Mhm.
And then you're also helping the owners themselves, to deal with their own issues and emotions. So can you kind of like give me another example of like a horse and an owner's relationship and kind of what you like help them through?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to just say too, just to what you were kind of speaking about, and just being grateful for this community that you are cultivating. So like, thank you. It's so appreciated. And like you said, it is so energizing to really feel in purpose and to really find your people.
Mhm.
And I did have a horse about 2 months ago give a message on this, all about sisterhood, right? So,
Yes.
and this is an example as well, right, of some of the things that they talk about. But he was just emphasizing and showing me this huge circle of women, kind of all in this circle with their hands kind of on each other's backs in the sacral area, and then also holding hands. And he said, this era of isolation is over, right? It's time for not only collaboration, right? Collaboration instead of competition, but he's like, it is time for true sisterhood, right? Doing everything together. So yeah, I just feel like that fits so well. And again, just really, really appreciative of what you're building. Um,
And the thing
yeah,
is, I didn't even know I was building it. It's just
yeah.
like I was one of the sisters looking for everyone, and then one day I just realized, oh, it's me. Oh, okay, But it's been amazing to wake up for starters, and to just meet one person that leads to this person, to leads to this person, and yeah, and it's not ever been about competition, because I can't do what you do, you can't do what someone else does. But I always looked at it like these little miniature robots. They're all got these little badass abilities.
Mhm.
You put that robot together, and it can conquer anything. And that's exactly what you just explained with the horse, talking about this group of women. It's a very powerful thing when you come together, and it's time. You're right. It's time
Yeah.
to quit comparing ourselves to each other, embrace each other's individuality, learn from each other, and and yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, and as you were talking too, like with the circles, I'm seeing, the horses are reminding us of the herd, right? Like horses are herd animals, people are also herd animals, right? So they're being kind of funny about it. And same if you're a dog person, right? Dogs are in packs, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I was just thinking about some things that I could share, and maybe it's helpful to say in general, what people kind of come to me for. So it could be, a behavioral issue, like, okay, my dog's acting up, they are maybe aggressive towards someone, or my cat, like, they're not going to the bathroom in the litter box anymore. I can't figure out why. We've ruled out different health issues. Horses, a lot of times it's behavioral, right? Like, oh, I'm trying to get them to do this and it's not quite working. So that's usually how people come in, right? And so these are the things that the animals are doing to communicate because they can't speak, right? And people, at least not yet, aren't able to fully understand them. So that's usually how folks come in. So one example recently was a dog that was kind of acting up. And so we went in to see what was going on, and it really was just a mirror of what was happening with the person, right? So animals are really just masters. They're infinitely more wise than us. So the dog is really just trying to help the person and say, "Hey, like I'm trying to help you with this, but it's a little bit too much. So here's your mirror and here's right what's really going on." And it was really beautiful because the main focus of that was the person's heart space, right?
Mhm.
And needing to kind of slow things down. So I actually was like touching my heart when I was doing it and trying to explain, like, this is about the rhythm, right? And I was like, there's this tap, tap, tapping, and we need to just kind of slow it down, right? Slow down this energy. And I was like, do you do tapping, right? Like EFT tapping for anxiety? And
Mhm.
she's like, oh my goodness, I totally do that. It's amazing. And right as we were talking, a huge woodpecker came in and like banged on the window and grabbed the screen. It was super strange. I have a bird feeder in the front. And I was like, okay, this is a sign. Like, look up woodpecker, right? Look up the spiritual symbolism of the woodpecker and see what you find. And sure enough, a little bit later, she messaged me and she was like, oh my goodness, guess what this is? She said the woodpecker represents rhythm and the heartbeat of the forest. And we're like, another one of those mind-blown moments. So that was especially wonderful because we had, a wild animal pop in to help us and really kind of drive that point home and that symbolism home of yes, we need to just slow down, right? Be in rhythm and be in flow with ourselves and not let this kind of outside world and society
overtake.
dictate our pace, which is so hard to do, right? So hard to do. But yeah, we got this and just getting more and more into our heart spaces and into our bodies, not as much into our mind and that kind of go, go, go. And I would say that's a theme that comes up a lot as well, right?
Yeah,
Get back into the body, get back into the heart space, listen to body wisdom, and let everything else kind of fade away.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know I'll be sitting here in the office and there's been this little blue bird that would just whack into the window. He did it this morning. And it's like, I mean, it's like, okay, what are they trying to tell me? It's always the same little blue bird that's smacking my window.
Yep. Yep, what are they trying to say? Yep. And feathers too. Feathers is a wonderful one. Just if you find a feather, what do you feel, right? And then look in, like if you want to look it up or, what color is this? What does the color say? Is it gray? That might be, a period of transition. For
Yeah,
me, blue, because you said bluebird, bluebird is abundance.
well,
So blue, right, means
yeah,
like, okay, something good's coming. I'm going to be ready for this opportunity. We're on track.
yeah. Well, we talked about the color blue with me too.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I've noticed it's always this little blue bird out by the window.
Yeah, I love it. Of course, my name's Blue, Blue Moon Equine and Blue Moon Animal Communications. We definitely have the
Yeah,
blue going on. I love it.
yeah,
But yeah, we even have birds pop in to help us. Oh, I can say too, there's been a lot of cool cat readings lately.
yeah.
For a long time, I didn't get as many cat folks, and I feel like for some reason the cats are just coming in hot lately.
I feel like
Um,
the energy. This is just my take on it.
yeah,
It's the cats with Lyran and like the Egyptians and stuff.
yeah.
I feel like as the collective energy has risen, like you've noticed over the last few years, a shift from the society, like all being dog people, to like
Mhm.
now, like you can't get away from cat stuff. And I just found that very interesting.
Yes. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yes, absolutely. Because cats are masters of temperance, right? So one of the cats that I was working with really kind of emphasized that. And so that makes sense. Like if everything's rising, right? And it's becoming more common knowledge to understand nervous system regulation, right? And how to express and feel our emotions and not just suppress them. So that totally makes sense collectively. And so the cats were kind of, speaking to that piece. It's like, look at us. We can just be totally chilling and totally relaxed. And in a half a second, zoom across the house or, be ready to like look at a bird, just kind of be in predator mode, right? And then half a second later, they drop right back into stasis, right where they were. So they really are masters of this regulation, of this temperance, of they can get into a highly activated state but then they can easily just release it and release that energy and let it go. Where us humans, sometimes we have a harder time, right? We're stressed out and we're up there and we can't bring ourselves down without help. But again, that's the cats help us with that. They help teach us that.
Yeah.
So this is one of those mind-blowing moments. So I was we set the intention to do a reading with this cat and it got canceled and I actually went to help this person with their horse. And I was like, okay, we'll work with the horse first, and then we'll get to the cat.
Mhm.
Now, I had never seen this cat before being there ever. I'd dinner held horses several times, had never seen this cat. The cat was involved in the entire session for the horses. So we were working on root chakra for this horse. Horse doesn't like the cat, cat doesn't like the horse. Cat walks over, sits his little butt down on the ground.
Mhm.
So they're both like butt to butt, basically, like this. So, like, ultimate trust,
Yeah.
right? And the cat totally helps this horse ground into the ground and clear root chakra. And we're all just like, okay, like mind blown. So a week later, we get to the cat reading, and he's like a little wizard. He's just very much a guru. I'm absolutely sure he had, past lives. He is an ascended master for sure.
Mhm.
So then next time, go back to work on her horses again, and he's right there, and he's just purring, and she's like, "Oh, he never does that. Like he never really comes up to people, and he's, just basically saying thank you.
Yeah.
So do the horses go to leave, and there's a dead chipmunk in front of my vehicle, in front of the door. So he had couldn't say it, more plainly. This was his thank you gift, right?
Yeah.
For the reading. And it just blew my mind because it's like, okay, we just had this amazing conversation, but at the same time, how does he know that like this is my door, right? Because cats usually bring things, to your back door, or how did he know that this was my door? How did he know that this was my vehicle, right? And just the perfect timing. Like
Well,
he had done that when we were busy, so I could get my little parting gift before I left.
and he was practicing energetic exchange.
Yes, 1,000%, right? 1,000%. So
For me, I do for you.
yeah. So it was just another one of those like mind-blowing moments. Like, wow, like they are just, yeah, they're really beyond. Yeah. So it's just super grateful and was like, thank you, you my master, right? Like he really is ascended master and here to teach us things and very much a guide. So that was really amazing.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Well, I have always feel like I've always had a herd of animals as well. Um, always been pulled more to cats than dogs.
Yeah.
I've had dogs before, but always been a cat girl. And of course, I love birds too. I've had a few birds, but yeah, just always. I always wanted it all. I wanted, I got a little pond here. I want the goldfish, and I had fish in my pond, and
Mhm.
um, then I couldn't eat the fish because I fed the fish. It was like, oh, I would stink if I had to like live off the land because I couldn't kill any of my animals.
Yep, me neither. I could not. Absolutely could not. We had chickens for a long time and no way. There's absolutely no way.
Like, I don't know, once I feed it and pet it, it's just, it takes on a whole new thing for me. It's
Yeah,
different.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that makes sense though, because you definitely carry the earth, right? The earth mother energy as well. So
Mhm.
it makes sense that you'd always be, yeah, I'm seeing like, yeah, you surrounded by like all kinds of animals. Yeah.
I was told I have a white lion and a white tiger.
Mhm.
So that makes a lot of sense why I'm always pulled towards the cats.
Yeah.
And when I was little, I was completely obsessed with Puff the Magic Dragon, and I've been told I have a dragon, which a lot of people do, that oversees and watches things too. So yeah, I just it's just crazy how fast I think I have progressed with things from like it's just I don't know, it's just crazy from like learning. Um, you're doing things you don't really understand that I'm doing, but yet it's stuff that I've done as a soul before, and it comes through naturally, and it's hard to explain. So it's like, I think I was telling you when you were here, there's this light language stuff I was doing with my hands when I do energy work, and I don't really couldn't tell you exactly what it is or what it does. I just know that when I'm in that channel,
Mhm.
it kind of flows through me. So is that kind of how some of your stuff works too? You just kind of, or is all of yours gotten pretty intentional now?
I would say with the healing, absolutely. And I think that's a great kind of lesson is just to like go with it, right? Like there's this saying like listen to your intuition before it makes sense. Go
Yes.
with go with your gut before it makes sense. And the piece about like this remembering, right? That all of us have gifts and so they're gonna come up. So just go with it, right? Like don't question it. So yeah, I definitely feel that in terms of my healing work
Mm-hmm.
because everyone's different. And I'm sure you resonate with this as well. It's like I may have done a certain thing a million times because maybe it's a common issue, like right, especially with the heart space, or we have a lot of common issues with women in sacral, right? But then there'll be, a horse or a person that comes in with something completely different, right? Or maybe we need help. We need help on this one.
Yep.
And maybe we have guides that come in that haven't come in before.
Yep.
So yeah, a lot you just really have to go with the flow because everyone's different and every experience can be different. And again, with that mind-blowing piece, it's like, okay, we've done this work for so long, and yet every time there's at least one thing that's new, and it's so magical.
Yeah.
Yeah, so absolutely. It just this is a remembering, but this is also like every time it's different. So even if you say we've done this many times in past lives, right?
Yeah.
It does like you're still gonna get new things.
Yes.
And also because we're anchoring this new energy in, these new things in. So yeah, absolutely resonate with that for sure.
Like, we first met and like we didn't have any plans, anything. And then we ended up, having that healing session with each other and your mom. Um, and like I said, I feel like every time I do a healing session, like you were talking about on a client, it's not like, okay, I do this first and this second, and then we do this. It is a feeling. It is a pull to do certain things at certain times. And I can't say that I've ever done the same type of session twice.
Mhm.
So that makes a lot of sense to me. Sometimes I'll do a lot of hands-on stuff, and I even have had guides to say, okay, we just needed you here to hold the space and open up the room, and you can sit down.
Yep.
We're going to take over. And it's been really exciting for me to have a few clients that I did not know actually had abilities. And so I would be working on someone, like I told you, and she would say, hey, why is there an Indian man behind you, doing this? So it was, even though I felt that I was having, assistants and guides were coming in to work with me, it was really nice and neat to have that confirmation from someone that could see those things. And then another lady could just see the energy moving, and she was telling me that she saw my hands working above her, and then a few minutes later she saw multiple hands. And when she opened her eyes, I was sitting down because it was one of those moments that I felt like they were telling me, okay, go sit down. We'll take it from here. So those things for me were very needed confirmations that I needed kind of a little feedback to know, okay, I am feeling what I'm feeling, and I am getting the messages I'm getting. Because it's weird, when you first, start having these things happening to it's highly second guessable, and so when I was learning and going through that process, it was such a blessing to have those people, I feel like, be sent to me to kind of give me that feedback of, yeah, this is exactly what's going on. So, and then
Yeah.
when we work together so differently, but yet it worked, you know.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it was weird, but it was wonderful.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Yeah. So for context for anyone listening, like we had basically never met each other, and 3 hours later had these like amazing, profound kind of readings for each other and also healing. So yeah,
Yeah,
and just you're an amazing healer. So thank you as well for that. So shout out anyone, please. Come on in. But yeah, I mean, I can resonate with that too a little bit where sometimes, like you were mentioning, like the progression can be so fast.
yeah.
Um, a few years ago, because I'm also a medium,
Mhm.
so a few years ago, I had signed up for like just a mini class, right? Like a mini mediumship class, and I was like, yeah, I just want to listen in and just, see what I see. And surprise, it was just practice sessions. And I was like, okay, this was false advertising, but okay, like let's do it. So we were in breakout rooms and I just kind of told my partner, like, hey, I'm just gonna do, what I do with the horses and we'll see.
Yeah.
And it was just this full blown, clear as day, like amazing reading with her mother. We had some, other guides come in and it was amazing and it was so fluid. But after, I had to kind of sit down and just be like, holy shit. Like that just like, hey, I guess we can do that, So it was kind of a lot. I had to take time to process,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Because animals are so much different than people, but I will say people are a lot easier, right? It comes in faster and it's really quick. Whereas animals, you're kind of meeting them at different frequencies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I feel that because sometimes it's just like, whoa, like
And
let's process.
for you too, like with you saying that, like I had expectations for like what it was going to be like,
Hmm.
and it's nothing like I thought it was for me. I thought I would be like hearing, seeing, I don't know, more of that.
Hmm.
And for me, it just comes in. I do kind of get like if you were sitting here, like daydreaming, I guess.
Hmm.
So I kind of see it that way. I'll see figures of people. Sometimes they'll show me like body positions, like if they're trying to be funny or something. I'll kind of get that stuff, but I can't haven't with mediumship. It's like you can't really just for me make it happen. So when I have a client come in, if there's someone with them or something that comes through, or they ask me if someone's there, then I'll kind of tune in and
Hmm.
see. But that's as far as kind of I've pushed it. I don't know. Of course, I attack. They're taking me back to when I used to do photography, and I didn't want to do weddings because I thought I'd mess it up. But then they said, "But you never did." That's kind of what they're just telling me. Like my abilities, I kind of have that apprehensive, like I did as a photographer. I don't want to try because I'm a little afraid that I'm not going to do it right. And they're saying, "But you, you always, your pictures always turned out fine." So, you know, they're trying to tell me to stop doing that. Stop working
Yeah,
so much that I might not be able to do it, and because that already shuts you down when you think like that.
yeah, absolutely. You got it. You totally got it, girl. That yeah, 1,000%. And
Human, human in you, and
oh yeah,
for healers, we don't want to disappoint anyone. Um, that creeps in.
yeah, absolutely. And my friend Carrie, she does similar work as well. We had kind of a similar conversation, where, she was a nurse and right?
Yeah,
So you have this mentality, right? And like I'm definitely overachiever, like have always been, right, in that space. So it really takes like a reframing, like a complete perspective change because it's like, okay, like we're so used to learning like this is how we do it. One, two, three, these are the right ways, and like I get my A plus, right? And so it's so hard to kind of essentially blow that up and just kind of throw it out the door because it really doesn't, right, serve us in this space. And one of her guides had said to her, like, it's going to be different every time, right? And so that, I think her hearing that, in itself was like allowed her to just kind of release that. But it's so hard because of like the day to day that we live in is essentially the opposite. So it's really hard to,
yeah,
you can't completely throw that away. And so it's really this work on balance, which is like our everyday
yeah.
challenge, right?
Yeah, because like I've been taught as a nurse, there's a procedure for everything.
Right.
The catheter in, you do,
Yep.
and then like I said in this work, let's say I have a client come in and they're wanting to open up their third eye and like their connectivity, but then I'm getting like, we really need to get you grounded. Like you already
Yep.
there, you just don't know it.
Right.
So it just depends on. Sometimes I can't. I have to explain. Well, we really don't need to do what you think we need to do because that's not the issue. The issue is
Right.
you're dizzy all the time and you have headaches because you're not grounded and you are actually more connected than you realize you are.
Hmm.
So it just depends on what's going on, like you said, with the client and trying to teach them how to feel into their energies and I remember when I started waking up and started asking questions, it would kind of irritate me when people were like, well, I can't do it for you. You have to do your own work. And it's like, I really didn't know what they were talking about. I'm
Yeah.
here, I'll do it. But just tell me, like, I wanted them to tell me what is the work,
Right.
because I didn't understand. And so I have started putting out there for like a mentorship, like kind of like what we're doing, like a monthly or a weekly, however they want to do it, one-on-one Zoom for us to talk about like what's going on and what are
Yeah.
you wanting to achieve, and let me try to help explain what that is, because I feel like it took me 6 months to just understand what the work was. And I want to be able to be a little bit better of a mentor to someone who has those same questions. And the easiest thing I've learned for what you find out what your work is like the things that just trigger you.
Hmm.
For me, if someone says or does something that makes me feel stupid or not a badass woman, huge trigger for me. Like, for instance, if I'm putting something together and someone says, well, you did that backwards or something, it just, I don't know, there's a huge like, but then I had to realize, okay, why? Why am I getting so fired up? Because someone tested my capability. And it all goes back to the fact that women have been pushed down, tape over our mouth. You're not anything important. You're just, clean house, sit down, raise the kids, speak when you're spoken to. I feel like I have had a lot of past lives in that situation, and it's this no more energy coming out. And so I've had to like try to teach people that's kind of how you learn what the work is the things that trigger you. Then
Yeah.
they're like little cues on what it is that is needing healing, that's needing you to go revisit and kind of figure out why is that doing that for you. And yeah, just having a moment for me to say, okay, I'm not being threatened anymore, I'm not being silenced. um, it's okay. Calm down. No one's dragging you off to the stake. um, but yeah, those things we bring forward from other lifetimes that are energetic, and it responds in our body faster than it makes sense in our own mind. So I just kind of want to help people realize what the work is. And then that's just one part of it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that, and I love that advice, about the triggers. And yeah, when you're first starting, it can feel like daunting,
Mhm.
and like you said, it can also feel like what do I do? Like where do I start, right? And I talked to a client this week actually about similar things where, she's kind of just beginning and she's like, well, what do I do? And also for me, like making sure that I'm, holding the appropriate space, because now for me it's like if I have a trigger, I get like excited. I'm like, "Oh, yes, okay, like what's the next thing?" Right? Like that's angry, so let's look at it. And I almost get excited like it's a clue, like it's the next
Yeah,
clue, right,
yeah,
in my healing journey. But I have to really be mindful and present, where it's like people, if you're just starting, they're not to that place. And remembering that feeling of like overwhelm, or maybe like, a little bit of like shame or guilt, or about those pieces. And like talking about the shadow work, like that's a great one, for people starting out as well. And then you mentioned the past lives, and I made a joke to her, because she's my friend as well. And I was like, yeah, like as if it's not it's hard enough dealing with the stuff on this plane in this life, and now it's like, okay, we got to complicate it and go to past life stuff.
yeah,
um and you helped me with this a little bit as well when I was there. I'm currently, healing significant loss from a past life. And it just feels like, I can't even describe the level of grief. Like, just like, I mean, I'm talking about it kind
yeah,
of not flippantly, but I'm okay with it now. But there are moments where it's like, I literally feel like
yeah.
dying.
And
So
I think
it's like, it's hard enough. And then we add that to the mix, right?
we're talking about your connection to Lyra, which
Yeah.
is a huge galactic piece. A lot of people that experience time in Lyra, which was a place where, like, the cat people, the Lyrans, um, they were attacked and they lost their homes, and it was awful. And so anyone who experienced that in that lifetime can carry that over, that feeling of loss and always being afraid that your loved one, something's going to happen to them, that type of thing. It comes from something tragic. And, it got me thinking, for instance, my grandmother was always afraid of drowning, but there was never a story like, oh, when she was little, she fell in the, no, she just always had these fears and that they never had a story to them in this lifetime. And even in my mom's, we had her regressed, and like there was so much that came out that explained things that she has experienced in this lifetime. She never wanted to leave home and like leave the area that she grew up in. And in a past life, it was because she was taken from her family. And
Mhm.
so it's just like you said, it's kind of like the game of Clue. Like for me too, I get excited and I'm like, oh, that's why, and like,
Yeah.
oh, that makes sense. Why this has always bothered me, and like it never bothered anyone else in the family. And so yeah, you bring that forward, and like you said, you have those things that you have to figure out. And for me, once I was able to recognize, okay, the reason that you know when someone makes me feel that way, this is why.
Mhm.
And then just sitting with that and being like, that's not this lifetime. You're killing it this lifetime. No one's putting tape over your mouth or, telling you to sit down and be quiet. Like you're safe. And then sometimes that's all it takes is just like, okay, that's not happening right now.
Mhm.
And and recognizing it, putting that attention on there that that's what it is sometimes all it's needed to heal that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So always kind of looking at the layers, like kind of you said, like, okay, is this here and now?
Mm-hmm.
And then is it mine? Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us are empaths. Is this actually mine?
Yep.
And then, okay, like ancestral stuff. Is this something I learned from my parents? Is there something that happened to my grandparents that nobody knows about?
Yep.
And, so on and so forth. And then, of course, the past life stuff. So yeah, just kind of checking in with yourself and then kind of checking those layers. And I will say too, sometimes it helped me to also understand like we also aren't always going to know, right? And sometimes that's okay too, right? And that's like an acceptance piece or a forgiveness piece or just kind of a release. Like it
Yeah.
it can be, yeah, like sometimes it can feel actually really rewarding when we figure this stuff out and we're doing the work to heal our lines. And but sometimes it's also about just accepting that we may not ever know, and that's okay, right? Like I see this, I feel it, and I release it anyway,
That's
right?
huge
Yeah.
because I'm a huge. When I first woke up, I was like, I want to know everything.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
I was booking Akashic record readings, like you know, and
Yep.
then it wasn't until like I remember one lady even told me, "Your guide said you're like a shaken up soda can. Stop it."
I feel that too. I feel that.
I was like, I don't know how, because I was so excited. And I did. I'm a fire sign too, and I wanted, I had all this passion and
Mhm.
to know. And it wasn't until she sat me down and said, "Look, I'm just going to tell you like they're telling me. You can't ask us for all these things that you're wanting because we are here following the plan that you set." And they will unfold when you said they were going to unfold and not a minute sooner. And I was just kind of like, damn. And I don't know what it was about that just kind of calmed me down. But it was just that recognition, like you said, that, I can meditate every day. I can do all these things, but they wasn't going to happen sooner than what I planned for them to happen. And then, like you said, I had to get to that place where I had to realize, I'm not going to know everything. I'm not going to get the answers to some things that I'm searching for. That they pretty much said, you'll get the information that you only need, and that's it. And that helped, calm me down a lot because when I first woke up, I was on a mission. I was going to,
Yep.
find all this out. And it was just, I remember asking all these questions about who I used to be, and they just kept saying, that's not going to help you. And I was like, yes, it is.
Tell me anyway. I want to know.
Oh, but so yeah, it's been. I make the joke all the time if this is because I'm almost 50. That this is a midlife crisis looks like it. Like this is great. Like this is
Yeah.
buying a Ferrari.
Yep. Love this. Oh, I love that, and I resonate because yeah, same when I first started. It's like I want to check those boxes and I want to know all the things, and I think one thing that I learned from the animals is, a lot of times people that rescue animals, right? Because we have such big hearts, we want to know, like, okay, what's the past story? Like with the horse, like I can tell this horse was abused, or dogs, right? They're afraid of he's afraid of men, so I really just want to know what happened.
Yeah,
And the animals are like, no, like that's not relevant, right? What is relevant is the present. And the other piece of it is that story, right? If somebody says, oh, like this is my rescue dog and he doesn't like men and all these things happened, what are they doing? They're just perpetuating that story,
yeah,
right? So they're carrying that energy forward when
yeah,
it needs to be released. And so I feel like that's a great lesson, for us as well. Like not only to not do that with our animals and to be more in the present, but for
yeah,
our stories as well, right? And the stories that we tell ourselves, and sometimes the stories that we tell ourselves that we don't even know that we're doing yet, right? But just being really mindful of letting that go, right? Being in the present, releasing so that we can carry this new energy forward, not these old stories that kind of keep us in the yucky energy.
exactly right. Like, and I'm just as bad at going back and saying that I've let things go, but to think about it and to talk about it, you're giving that life again. And yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. It's so hard. It's so hard. And another thing that helped me with my perspective was kind of this like spiral shape, like almost like a slinky, where it goes like this, because life is in circles and we learn the lessons, right?
mhm,
But they might come back again to be like, are you sure? Or it's another level where you're like, oh, I totally thought I learned this lesson, and now that it's back, now I really understand, like on a whole nother level, what this truly means.
yeah,
And a lot of, like masters, like especially with martial arts, right? Like say they'll go through their program, they'll get to the black belt, and then they'll start back at the beginning because they're seeing the basics, right? With new eyes, with this new perspective. And so they're deepening into that and learning it even further. So yeah, it helped me when I was like, come on, I thought I healed that. Like, what the heck? Like, I'm over this. But, instead of being like, okay, like, obviously there's another layer to the onion, or there's another deeper lesson within this.
yeah,
Or sometimes it's the universe just kind of testing you, like, are you sure? You sure you don't want this? And you're like, no, I'm done. I'm really done.
yeah.
And then it will finally go.
I had a repeat here recently too with a similar thing that I had took a long time to heal, but it was learning how to let loved ones live their own life,
Mhm.
um, and keeping that love for them, even though they don't want you like right there with them.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I had a hard lesson with a daughter, and took me a long time to kind of heal from that. And then I recently just had a repeat with another healer I got close with that
Mhm.
decided to walk in, her own direction. And I recognized the repeat lesson, and I decided to do it differently and to recognize it for what it was and not be so hurt over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one I've picked up on is just because they're your family or your close friend or whatever doesn't mean everyone's journey looks the same as yours. And but you don't have to end it on bad terms or wouldn't even say hate, but hurt and anger. You can still learn to love that person, and have respect for them to walk in their direction that it's different than yours.
Yeah.
And but it was like when you were talking about repeating, I was like, when you do heal, like you notice that, like, oh, here's another loss of a daughter like figure, but I'm going to handle this differently this time, and I'm going to hold this in love and compassion and understanding that of what it is, instead of be so hurt by it.
Yeah.
Because I think we all, tend to, if we have a friend that goes a different way or a family member, it just, I don't know, it just, we all expect to have these close relationships forever. And that's just not growth. That's not reality.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. And a horse kind of spoke on this too, I'll share, and he said ebb and flow, ebb and flow. So our everything has an ebb and flow, but even relationships, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it might be one where you're really close to somebody and you're besties, and then it kind of fades away, and that's okay, and maybe they'll come up again, or maybe it's like a complete, severance. And yeah, like you said earlier, right? Like looking at that, like, okay, this situation or this person leaving, like, why does this hurt me so much, right? And looking at that, so I feel like,
Yeah.
I've definitely had, betrayal wound for
Mm-hmm.
sure in this life and past lives. So, definitely something, that I'm actively healing. And it's also about, like, not taking things personally, right? Which is obviously so hard to do.
Yeah, because I took it as rejection, like, oh, you know, I wasn't good enough, or it played back into my triggers again
Yeah.
of, well, what's wrong with me that they don't want to be a part of my life,
Yeah.
It's not, it wasn't really about that. It was just about the fact that everyone has their own journey, that they
Yeah.
will experience different things, and it was just a moment of, my daughter was young when she wanted to go off in her own direction, but that was the adventurer in her. That was
Mhm.
the independent, strong-willed woman in her, that I'm proud of. But then, like, as her mother, we're so bad to like invest our whole being in our children. I didn't know what to do when that left.
Yeah.
So that taught me a few things. It also taught me to find my own worth in myself, where so many of our Gen X, are my age group people, like lived ourselves through our kids.
Mhm.
And not that that's anything wrong with it, but I had to learn a lot of self love and rediscover like who I was, because I had put myself so much in my children that I really didn't have an existence other than I was that person's mom.
Mhm.
So that pain led me down this healing road, that if that had not happened, I wouldn't even be sitting here talking to you today,
Yeah.
because I would still be being her mom. That would be
Mhm.
my whole identity.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so beautiful. And like, it's the pain to power piece too. So I'm sure you're able to help others, like, going through the same thing, because you, like, truly feel that and understand that, and
Yeah,
can, yeah, share your heart on that.
but it forced me to go and look for myself.
Mhm.
I remember someone asking me one time, like, what do you do for fun? What's your hobby? And I was like, I really struggled to think of something, because
Mhm.
my whole existence, and it happens in a loving way. We want to be such good parents and good moms and stuff, that we totally, we're totally in 100%. But then along the way, I lost who April was.
Mhm.
My joys, my hobbies, my likes, my whole persona of my adventure was gone. So that had to happen for me to be able to turn back around and walk back in the other direction and start self discovery. And yeah, this has been like the best thing. And it's so crazy how something that's the worst thing in your whole existence to happen can gradually lead into the best thing that ever happened for you. And it took me 10 years to get there. It wasn't the overnight, thing. But yeah, that's the whole I always tell people like I see it like a valley. Like we start out up here and we're going down into the trenches. And like when we're down here, we can't see the view that we have. But then once you make it back up on that hillside and you turn around and you look behind you, there's this beautiful story that you can finally like appreciate, but you can't see it when you're down in the valley. Like all you can see is the trees and the shrubs and all the icky stuff around you, and it's dark and it feels lonely. And that's what I think me and you and all the other healers that have come together are here for, is to help you be able to slowly walk out of that and turn around with this amazing group of people beside you
Mhm.
for you to look back on your amazing story and have that different perception and that different viewpoint of what you've been through. And then for you to turn back around and help others. Because that's what a healer does. They go through their own junk just to be able to heal just enough that they want to help other people heal too.
Yeah, absolutely. That was so well put, so beautiful. And yeah, it's the pain to power, right? Like we've walked through these things so that, we can truly understand and be able to help others through that. And yeah, I mean, it's like, the night is darkest before the dawn type thing. It's so true. And it's kind of funny, but the other day there was kind of the celebrity guy that was talking about how he's like, I'm done with Instagram. People kind of laughing at him. And they're like, why? And he's like, well, because I saw a picture, I think it was of Mount Everest. He's like, I saw a picture from the peak of Mount Everest and I was like, I don't deserve to see this. Like I didn't earn this. And so this photo had no meaning for him and actually like irritated him and made him mad. But it's like you were saying, talking like right with the valley and the mountain, it's like once you've walked that and you've like almost earned that in a way, like it's so much richer. Like you were saying, the view is just beautiful and stunning. And because your perspective has changed, you have changed, and now you're able to like reach a hand down and help others, right? Come up from that. Um, so yeah, even though that's kind of a funny story, funny story, I feel like it's so true. Like it does not have the same meaning. The same view has no meaning, right? Without the work.
Nobody wants to go get help from anyone who's never experienced it. Like, I think that's across the board. Like, you don't want to go talk to someone who's happily married and never had any issues in their marriage if you're struggling in your marriage, because there's two different viewpoints. Like, it just, you just don't feel like you can resonate there. And so you'll see a lot of healers that have been through numerous types of situations. And that's all that's ever done is make them a better healer, because I can say, hey, I'm not comparing stories, but I just want you to know that, I've been through this too. Um, and just those words, it helps people to open up more. It helps people to be able to talk about things that they couldn't talk about with other people. Um, and I feel like that's what I do. I don't really classify myself as a certain type of healer. Um, but people find themselves very safe and within my presence to help allow me to help them get to the point where we can discover those triggers, release those things, and talk about it. Just have a general conversation where it can be said and released.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean that's the beauty too of, having a community like this amazing community that, you've built and are building, is because, we all have gifts, but we may resonate with someone, right? And I could be like, okay, like that's this is what you need help with. Okay, like this person, I feel like you would vibe with them because they have been through some of the same things, right? And like, or just personality wise, like I know you're gonna get along with this person, or so that's and
Yeah,
I know, yeah, that's just yeah, again, just super grateful for this community that you're building, but that's one of the key pieces of it. It's like, yep, okay, I got that, or oh, nope, like
yeah,
this person is perfect for you. Yeah.
exactly. Because, like I said, it's not a competition thing. If I start talking to someone and I resonate, or my guides might say, send her to Dallas, because they know they have access to all knowing. I don't. But yeah, why not have this directory of people that work really well together, that the person get to the right person that they need to be with. And that's what I'm trying to build with doing these interviews. I'm trying to highlight everyone and also make these connections to all these other people that have these wonderful gifts that are wanting to come out of the woodwork and actually help people. And that needs to be shared. So tell us like how we can get a hold of you and what all you've got lined up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on Facebook, Blue Moon Equine if you're a horse person, or Blue Moon Animal Communication for any other animal. My website is bmequine.com. But yeah, message me with whatever you're needing, or even if you just, yeah, like want to reach out and yeah, like meet up, or if you have any questions, like of course, always happy to help. So
Yeah.
if you're resonating at all, just reach out. I'm here.
Well, all right. Well, I will let you go, and I'll get this uploaded and posted so everyone can resonate and see you and your wonderful abilities. Because I appreciate you. I don't exactly have your gifts, like I said, but I see them, I saw them, I felt them, and I thought you were amazing. So
Yeah, oh, right back at you. Yeah, right back at you. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be in touch and I'm excited for our next conversation.
yes, ma'am. All right. Well, I'll
Right.
talk to you soon then.
All right. Thank you so much again. Have a good day.
You too, babe. Bye bye.
Bye.